Hi, and welcome to Love and the Planets for the week of July 3rd, 2017. I'm Armand Diaz on Long Island, to tell you the truth.
And I'm Margaret Gray, still in Dublin.
Are you in Dublin or are you on the out? Because I always say New York, but I'm not in New York.
Well, I'm kind of on the outskirts of Dublin. At the moment, I'm in Dalkey, so I'm right by the sea, and the sun is shining again, so I'm very happy.
I've got a little sun here once in a while, too. It's going to go in and out. I'm going to be bright and I'm going to be dark.
Okay.
And that reminds me a lot of this week, Margaret. It's going to be bright and it's going to be dark. Well, it's going to be bright because of the full moon in Capricorn.
Yes, but that's not till the end of the week, and we've got a few things to go through before then. And there's kind of a lot of different energies, aren't there? Because there's two planets changing signs, which are two planets which are really important to relationships. Venus is the first one, which of course on Tuesday goes into Gemini for the next 6 weeks. And then we've got to change it with Mercury, which is all about communication, of course, into Leo on the Wednesday. So we're going to really talk a little bit about those two, aren't we? And about, of course, the full moon, because those are kind of key points in the week. So what are your thoughts about this Venus moving into Gemini?
Well, usually when a planet leaves its home sign, like when Venus leaves Taurus, usually you think, well, that's not so good. But actually going into Gemini, I think it's great. I think we could use, in Taurus, there's that sort of sensual, earthy energy, which is great for Venus, and we all enjoy that. And at the beginning part of the week, that's liable to be quite prominent, especially with the Scorpio moon. But when Venus moves into Gemini, it's a lighter, flirtier sort of atmosphere. It's kind of a little bit more like, it's a party type of thing. It's great, for example, if you're not in a relationship and you want to go out and you meet some people. Venus and Gemini is perfect. So I like Venus and Gemini. I think it's a good sign for relationship. I think it's a good sign for socializing in general.
Yes, it's much more fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
It really,
fun.
as you
Yeah,
say,
that's the one I
light.
mean.
So it's a lot of fun. Now, that same day, there's also, it's interesting because Mercury, just before he moves into Leo, he's going to be squaring Uranus. So to really watch out on Tuesday, could be some unexpected news. I mean, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, but it certainly could be something, sudden. So maybe to be also a little bit careful how we communicate that day, because we might blurt something out that we didn't intend to blurt, because there's this suddenness, there's kind of an erratic quality to that Uranus. And then, sorry,
I was going
yes,
to say
go
most
on.
certainly. Usually, Mercury, Uranus, there, you can get a brilliant idea or insight. But with Mercury in Cancer, square Uranus, I feel that there's liable to be a little bit of irritation, irritability, either a kind of slow down already or a speed up already type of sort of thing, and things can be quite emotional. I would think Tuesday, especially with the Scorpio moon, is not necessarily. You got to be careful what you say.
And then Wednesday, Mercury moves into Leo. So this is going to be a whole different feel around communication. Leo, of course, is about being heart-centered. It's a very fast energy with Mercury in Leo. Again, a lot of fun, a lot of joy. It's kind of very playful energy, I think, Mercury in Leo. So much more able to kind of play with words and not take everything so seriously. So kind of a lot of fun. But just to be aware that we may, again, things may come out quite fast. So we might not be able to kind of notice what we're saying. We've said it before we've noticed it, basically.
The one downside to Mercury and Leo is that it's a little harder to see somebody else's perspective. Not necessarily any harder than it is in Cancer, to tell you the truth. But in some other signs, Mercury is great when it can sort of shuttle back and forth between seeing here and seeing there and seeing what's going on. Mercury and Leo tends to see things from its own perspective. So maybe it's a little harder to sort of tune into what others are saying, but I feel it's going to be better than Mercury in Cancer for us in this year, at least. I feel that it's not like Mercury in Cancer is so terrible, but this year, with it being out of bounds, very emotional, very reactive type of time, and I think that it's going to feel a little bit better now that he's back in bounds and in Leo. It is more fun. And then on Friday, the day of the full moon, Mercury and Venus are in a nice sextile to each other, sort of celebrating their new signs. That sounds like a fun night to me.
Well, this is certainly a whole different feel this week, doesn't it, to last week, which we were so swamped with so much going on with the Mercury out of bounds and so much Cancer energy. So a lot of emotions floating around and a little bit of confusion and so on. So it does feel somewhat different, except I do want to just mention something again about Wednesday, that the Sun in Cancer is trine Neptune in Pisces. So that might have still a little bit of that flavoring of confusion. So there might be, on the one hand, Mercury later then speeds up into Leo, but just before it speeds up into Leo, we might find ourselves, depending on the time zone we're in, there might be a little bit of confusion. So in relationships, just to be aware that it might not be a great time to make a decision about a relationship that day.
Yeah, it's a great playful energy. It's a very creative energy. I think that there's a lot of potential to it. But yeah, I would be, it's not necessarily the most realistic energy. So early in the week, Scorpio moon, Mercury at the end of Cancer, Venus at the end of Taurus, the Mercury-Uranus square. Early in the week, right around the 3rd, 4th, I feel that that's a little bit cautious. When the moon goes into Sagittarius, we get to midweek. I feel it's a little bit lighter. And then I feel the weekend, Capricorn, it's a fun sign.
Yes, if you're very
Within limits.
Saturnian and you are, quadruple Capricorn or whatever, yes, but otherwise it's a little serious. And this full moon is kind of very serious because, of course, it's conjunct Pluto and it's opposite Mars still. So we've had already the exact Mars-Pluto opposition last week, but now here they're still within orb and kind of really woken up by this Capricorn moon. So Sunday feels like kind of really a day to maybe clear out closets, clear out old things, and maybe clear out old stuff in relationships too, to take a good look at what's real, what isn't real, what still fits the relationship. That doesn't mean the whole relationship has to be thrown out. People tend to panic, I think, when we say things like that. We're really talking about doing a clear out of what's kind of surplus in the relationship, because sometimes there can be old stuff like old family issues or old resentments or whatever that are really clogging the way to having fun and having joy. So Saturday, Sunday, wherever you are time zone in terms of the full moon is really a perfect time, I think, to do some clearing.
I think this weekend is going to have, there's two flavors. It's either you really enjoy the Mercury, Venus, Gemini, Leo, and it's the full moon, and it's kind of just a lot of fun. Or you get a little bit more of that more serious Saturnian side. Certainly, if the early part of the week and last weekend was tense with that Mars-Pluto square, I think some of the tensions that were seated then could erupt on the full moon. So if you've sort of been holding it in for a week, that could be the explosive point. But then again, if that didn't happen, if things aren't so tense, and then I think it would just be kind of a fun weekend. It could go either way.
Yeah, so I think, it depends what people's charts are like, of course. I think for anybody who maybe has a lot of Capricorn, this may not feel so alien, or anybody who's very Plutonian, this may feel, kind of easy, not easy, but, comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if somebody is very fiery or very airy, then, this weekend, the Sunday might feel a little heavy, that's the main thing, a little bit of heaviness. So, as we said before, when there's something earthy around, go and enjoy nature. I think nature kind of can absorb some of that heaviness and just give us some beauty. I think that might be, a nice antidote. Go somewhere, even go to a nice museum or an art gallery or something that's beautiful.
That's Capricorn work. You were right about cleaning out the closets.
Stick to cleaning out the closets. Forget the art gallery, yes.
Well, we'll see what happens, and we'll check in again next week.
See you soon. Bye, Armand.
Bye-bye.